On the night of April 14, 1912, the RMS Titanic sailed confidently across the icy North Atlantic. At 882 feet long, she was celebrated as the greatest passenger ship ever built and was widely believed to be practically unsinkable. Despite repeated iceberg warnings from nearby vessels, the Titanic maintained a speed of around 22 knots, pressing forward through dangerous waters. Then at 11:40 p.m., everything changed. A massive iceberg emerged from the darkness and scraped along the ship's starboard side. Beneath the surface, the impact ripped open multiple sections of the hull, allowing freezing seawater to flood the lower compartments within minutes. The damage was far worse than anyone first realized. Chief designer Thomas Andrews quickly understood the truth. The Titanic had been designed to stay afloat with up to 4 flooded compartments, but 6 had been breached. The ship was doomed. Above deck, however, most passengers remained calm, unaware that the world's most famous ocean liner had already received a fatal wound. As crew members prepared the lifeboats, another devastating reality became clear. There simply weren't enough seats for everyone on board. Several lifeboats were launched before they were even full, while hundreds of passengers were left standing on the freezing deck, watching their only chance of survival disappear into the darkness. The tragedy of the Doña Paz became even more devastating after the collision. The other vessel, MT Vector, was carrying more than 1,000 tons of gasoline. When the ships collided, the fuel ignited instantly, turning the surrounding sea into a wall of fire. Many passengers survived the impact, only to find themselves trapped between burning decks and flames spreading across the ocean. Even worse, the ferry's life jackets had been locked away, leaving countless people with no chance of escape. Out of roughly 4,400 people on board, only 26 survived, making it the deadliest peacetime maritime disaster ever recorded. But history held an even greater catastrophe. In January 1945, the Wilhelm Gustloff sailed across the freezing Baltic Sea, carrying an estimated 10,000 refugees, far beyond its intended capacity. Hidden beneath the icy water, a Soviet submarine launched 3 torpedoes that struck the ship in quick succession. As panic spread, many lifeboats could not be lowered because they had frozen in place. Thousands of passengers were forced into the freezing sea, where survival lasted only minutes. By the end of the disaster, an estimated 9,000 people had lost their lives, making it the deadliest shipwreck in recorded history. The Titanic will always be remembered, but history reveals that it was only one chapter in a much larger story. Behind every famous disaster are other tragedies that claimed even more lives, yet remain largely forgotten today. The Titanic shocked the world, but it wasn't the deadliest passenger ship disaster in history. More than 3 decades later, another tragedy unfolded in China. In December 1948, the SS Qiange departed Shanghai, carrying thousands of refugees fleeing the Chinese Civil War. Although officially listed with around 2,150 passengers, many more had secretly boarded before departure, leaving the ship dangerously overcrowded. About 50 miles south of Shanghai, disaster struck without warning. A powerful explosion, believed to have been caused by a leftover naval mine from World War II, ripped through the stern of the ship. Water flooded the lower decks within moments, trapping countless passengers below. The radio room was submerged before a distress signal could be transmitted, leaving the vessel completely isolated. Hours later, survivors fired emergency flares into the night sky. Small rescue boats eventually reached the wreck, but for thousands, help came far too late. The SS Qiange is estimated to have claimed around 3,920 lives, making it one of the worst maritime disasters in history. Yet even that unimaginable tragedy would later be surpassed. In 1987, another overcrowded passenger ferry called Doña Paz left the Philippines, carrying thousands of people home for the holidays. Before sunrise, it would become the scene of one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters ever recorded.